Hello, 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 and welcome to Unique Leaders Live. And it is the favorite day of the week. It is Friday, and not because it's the weekend, but because it is Unique Leaders Live. I am so excited to bring to you today my guest, Brian Hess. But before we do, just want to share a little bit about Unique Leaders Live. It started last year when we were all home, tucked away, and I decided I was going to start interviewing folks to give you some perspective of people that are in the business world or just creative people or doing what they do best. So I started interviewing people and people loved it. So we continued on. And Unique Leaders Live is now not only a live format on YouTube, but it's also a podcast. So today, do share out to all of your friends, family, because I know that they are going to hear something that Brian shares that will just so resonate with them. And then also go to YouTube and subscribe, because then you can go at any time and listen to not only Brian Hess's story, but the amazing people with me on Unique Leaders Live. And then Tuesday, you'll be able to have it on your podcasting platforms to listen to Brian while you're working out and doing whatever you do. So without further ado, I cannot wait for you to meet my friend, Brian Hess.
How are you?
I am good. Good to see you, my friend.
So good to be here with you. Thank you. I am so grateful for the opportunity and excited to have this conversation. I feel like there's some different connection that you and I have that's going to be a good conversation here. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I agree. I truly, truly agree. And, but I keep saying truly because I really mean this. And we spoke about this in the green room. I really love interviewing my guests and to hear about your story because it is that piece, those nuggets. So with that, let's go back to young Brian, where were you born, and a little bit about the essence of Brian that brings you to today.
Yeah. So I love telling this part of the story because I think it's such an important piece. I was born and raised in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, which is just a small town outside of Pittsburgh. So between Pittsburgh and the West Virginia border, this little town is nestled in right at the foot of the mountains. It's such a great place to be raised, from a family standpoint. It is one of the poorest counties. I believe it is the poorest county in Pennsylvania. So I was lucky to be exposed to all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different socioeconomic classes. Many of my relatives were in different situations. My dad comes from a really big family. He's one of six. So just a really cool way to grow up, right? In a small town. My dad was a steel worker. My mom stayed at home and raised us. So just, I guess I'm in a blue collar industry now, but that's where I kind of got that blue collar grit and work ethic was from my dad. When I was 11 years old, my older brother had a job. He was 5 years older than me. And I said, man, well, my brother's able to buy all kinds of stuff and I can't buy anything. So I want to do something too. And so I had a paper route at 11 years old. My dad would wake up at 4:30 in the morning before he drove 45 minutes to work at the steel mill. And he would take me to deliver newspapers. You can imagine what that was like in Pennsylvania and the snow and the sleet and the rain. And so, growing up, I learned, the whole concept of work ethic and to some degree entrepreneurship, right? Like you're a newspaper carrier at 11. You go and communicate people. That's back in the day when you'd actually go collect the money in person, you'd take your little bank bag with the ring and the hole puncher for how many weeks they paid for. And so, I learned a lot. I went to Laurel Highlands High School, was always a pretty good student, but never super excited about school. Went off to college. Again, wasn't super excited about college. Was working while I was in college and got the opportunity to have a job that essentially would pay me, what I was looking at making when I got out of school. And so went to my parents and said, hey, I just have this gut feeling that, I should take this leap, that maybe school's not for me, which they were not happy about at the time. And, so I dropped out of school. I'm a college dropout, and I worked in retail. And then I worked my way through getting out of retail and into business sales in a corporate setting. So I worked from business sales, and then I moved from Pittsburgh, where I was born and raised, down to South Florida. I was working for Verizon Wireless in a corporation. I'd been promoted a couple of times, and so I relocated down there. And my very first appointment was with a construction company, and the owner of that company in Miami, Florida, happened to be from Pittsburgh, and we hit it off. And he said, man, you should quit your job and come work for me. And I said, you got to be crazy, man. I don't know anything about construction. But I always, from the time I was a little boy, had an entrepreneurial spirit.
I know.
Always had this passion to create. And there was always some fear holding me back. And that, to me, was a step towards freedom. It was a step out of, corporate America and into, what I refer to now to people. I say, take one step closer to the checkbook. If you don't want to take, a huge step, get a little closer where, you have some influence and things like that. So was blessed to work for that company for a couple of years and really learn the ropes in construction. When I entered it, I knew nothing. I grew up around construction. My family, there's construction companies in my family, but I didn't know a whole lot. And that was October of 2011. I stepped into construction. And it wasn't very long after that I was like, man, I really need to do this on my own. I need to take this jump. And I, worked for a bunch of different companies. And one day I just said, this is the time. 3.5 years ago, I said, it's now or never. I got to take this jump and make this happen. And I took the leap, and the rest is history.
So with that, and by the way, we have so many similarities of what you said, the words you chose to use. I mean, Elizabeth is here. I'm sure she's saying, oh, these are things that Megan would say. The burning desire to create, that one thing, meaning I think about myself. It's that I was the one that did the plays, you're going to be Jesus, you'll be Mary. Okay. And, the lemonade stands, I've been that entrepreneur from the beginning, but it was really creative. So for our guests, Brian, we know, you and I, that, and many of us that are in business, that this last 2 years have been so very different in the world of business. Now so you said 2011. So I said to myself, well, you had a good 10 years to build the base. But here are people out there who, because I am on other podcasts, and I've found that people who have started some podcasts, they're reinventing themselves, and they may have had a corporate job, and they're not clear on what step to take next. What would you suggest to them? Meaning, because you have had that evolution, from the young man, with the paper route and learning. But let's say someone didn't have all of that and went from very, very academic, because I too left college. My father was not thrilled. Nope. But I said, Dad, I just want to get working. So what would you say to a person like that?
I think that the one thing that always has guided me was there's always just this burning desire, so how you take that step really matters. And so for me, I was fortunate, from 2011 until 2018, when I, officially went out on my own as an entrepreneur, I had great mentorship. And so, for me, it's always been about, seeking out the next level of mentorship and connecting with people. And this will maybe put a different spin on it for you. I am all about trying to connect with people that are different than me, that think different than me, that, I think that so often in today's world, we have the ability to create this echo chamber around ourselves of people that, have the same thoughts or have the same background or look the same or talk the same. And I think that when we crack that and we get around mentors that challenge us, that maybe think differently, that might even disagree with us in a lot of ways. It challenges us to grow. And so for me, mentorship would be the first advice that I would give someone.
Yeah.
And very important in that journey of finding a mentor, because as we both know, there's lots of people that will give you their advice, not all of which are necessarily qualified. I say, really investigate those people that you're communicating with. And my rule is always this: never take mentorship or never take advice from someone that you wouldn't switch places with in that particular area of life, whether it's business or fitness or finance or diet or whatever it may be. Make sure that that person is genuinely an expert and has the knowledge, because there's a lot of people, again, that might have some knowledge, but are they really qualified to advise you for where you're trying to go? And I think that choice of mentorship is so incredibly important for how fast you can get somewhere.
Yes, but what you said about vetting that person and really doing some research instead of emotionally, just because, like you said, if you have a connection, that doesn't necessarily mean that that person is the right mentor. It is about their background, and I love that how you said it, to step into it, switch roles is a very important point. That's fabulously put. So yeah, so now you're in 2018, and as you said, the rest is history, but we're kind of just beginning the rest of the story.
Yeah. So 2018, March 28th of 2018, we started the Pavement Group. So the Pavement Group is a national asphalt and concrete company. We serve some of the largest brands in the world. We do their parking lots. So we have kind of a niche where we advise companies on how to spend their budget better. So we can do a project in all 50 states and Puerto Rico. We've gotten to every one of those except for 2 states. So if anybody out there knows anybody we can do some work for in South Dakota or Hawaii, those are the last 2 states that we got to check off. And then we've run the whole map in the last 3 years. So 2018, we started, small company, just a couple of guys that had a dream and a vision for how we were going to innovate an industry that wasn't very advanced. So we've taken a technological approach to simplifying this whole process of pavement asset management. People don't think of businesses that are that big and the parking lots that are attached to them and how much those parking lots cost. And if they're not taken care of, they have to be replaced. And, you'd be blown away by, some of the retailers that you're familiar with. They're spending 50, 60, 100, $200 million a year on replacing parking lots for their stores.
Wow.
And, and that doesn't have to be the case if their pavement assets are managed properly. And so that's kind of where we come in. So we manage and perform work, but we also advise people. And so our best customers, we do all of that for. And we started doing that very manually and slowly but surely evolved into developing our own technology. We have a very unique approach that no one that's unmatched in our industry. We've developed technology that we possess that no one else has, that enables us to do that and simplifies some of the biggest problems that property and facility managers have. And we all know that, every business is created. Money is exchanged when problems are solved. More money is exchanged when they're solved faster and more efficiently. And so that's always been our mission is, we don't just pave parking lots. We get property and facility managers home to their families sooner than any other contractor will. And so that's kind of our mission. At the same time, in 2018, I always, I've been a sales, marketing, and leadership addict, if you will, for the last 20 years of my life. And so as I got from corporate America into construction, there was always this hole of training. There was a lack of training in corporate America. It's like breathing in and breathing out. It's always there for you. It's always available. You never, you're never really missing the knowledge it takes to be successful. And when I got into construction, that was something that was really missing in a big way. So I wanted to be able to fill that gap for people and at the same time complement the company that we were creating by, the contractors that help us complete these projects all across the country, to be able to give back to them through educating them and helping them grow their local businesses so that they can be better partners and better contractors to us and our clients. And so I created Top Contractor School, which is, we've got about 360 contractors around the world, most of which are in North America, that have subscribed to our programs in some way, shape, or form. And so our goal there is to transform the construction industry, to bring a lot of visibility to a trade that I'm very proud to be part of, and for me, I grew up, like I said, in a blue collar family. So I want to give people a look at what the blue collar industry looks like today, because it's very different than what most people would think it is.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm sitting here listening to you, and I'm thinking about the beauty industry as you're sharing, because that's a very blue collar industry itself.
It is.
And I have been in this industry all my business career in one form or another, in sales and marketing, in corporate mainly. But my father there's a root to it with family. But the point is that there's a statistic that I'm an esthetician by license in the state of Texas, and there's a statistic, though national, that 95%, Brian, 95, that means everybody, 95% of all newly licensed estheticians are not working in the field in 5 years. And so I'm listening to you about the paving, training program that you do, the company you've created. And my heart has always been education for the industry, but it's so fractionalized. I would love to be able to take it in a national scope to help for them to, there's organizations, but what you're doing, it just makes my heart happy.
Yeah, it's the idea, Megan, of creating community around a cause, and for me, and it's the same as I'm sitting here thinking about it in your industry. Many of the businesses that are created in the construction industry, almost all of them, are started as a family business.
Yes,
and so those people, many times they're people who are very skilled tradesmen. And they step into, creating their own business because they either got sick of working for who they were working for, or they wanted to be able to go and create in their own way, or create their own culture, or do something different than what it was that the company they were working for was doing. And so they step into that, and they struggle finding their way. And, it's been such an incredible journey to interact with so many different contractors over the last 3 years. And to be able to fill the gaps of the things that, to be honest with you, they're great at the things that I'm not, and I'm great at the things that sometimes they're not, right? And so to be able to exchange that information and to exchange the value that makes both of us better, and to create community around that. One of the most popular comments you hear from any entrepreneur, and what we're talking about is exactly that, whether it's somebody in the beauty industry or the construction industry, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, they feel the most frequent comment is that they feel alone.
Yes.
They don't know how to, get out of that feeling of being alone. And so what I've tried to create, and what I'm excited to watch unfold as you connect with more people, and, continue to build what you're building, to watch that community come together and support each other. It's incredible. I mean, we have, there were a few companies that were at the event that we were just at, and, those companies have multiplied in size. And the cool thing is they've done it together, right? It's not me helping these companies. It's our entire group and our entire community lifting these companies up, giving them a vision of what could be, and supporting and cheering each other on. And when people win, man, there's nothing better than watching people get so excited to watch other people win. I was on the phone with somebody last night telling them, kind of how 2021 has unfolded for our company, and some of the things that are going on in my life. And the guy on the other end of the phone was so genuinely excited for the success that we've been able to have. And that's what we need more of in the world. People that are celebrating other people's victories
Yes.
and
Yes.
really coming together to lift each other up.
Yes.
It's sometimes a tough place that we live in, from time to time, but
Mm-hmm.
we do incredible things when we come together. It can be a lonely place if we're out there as individuals, but
Yes.
it can be such an incredible experience to do it together.
And that's why, Brian, I think I shared with you that I sold my brick and mortar spa in June of 20. Some guy knocked on my door literally as I finished, one of these unique leaders, and I was about to leave. My team had left already, or team, my Elizabeth, and this man knocked on the door. And I thought he wanted to buy a gift card. People still had birthdays and anniversaries. And so I opened the door and he identified himself and he said, would you be interested in selling me your business? So he came in and we started a conversation. But what I knew in my spirit that I could not and would not sell the trade name, the product line, the URL, the website, because not just because he didn't understand what the value was, but it was because I knew that was my connection to the industry. It was
Mhm.
my connection to help and continue on. So, this past year, what we've been doing is creating programs that are about to be launched that will help, like you're doing, and continue on and help, just dig in as these shows and conferences open up and help others, because I've been doing this a long time. So like you just said, it's so gratifying when you see that you can help. Like my staff, 3 of them have now gone, who worked for me for years, have now gone on and started their own businesses together, and I mentored them with this. So it's like Mama Bear, going out and helping the cubs grow. So it's very gratifying. It
Yeah,
is.
it's incredible. We have a couple of companies within Top Contractor School that I was just with in St. Louis, and we're all talking about coaching and how to be a coach and how to serve the
Mm-hmm.
industry. And some of them are becoming coaches themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
people say like, "Oh man, aren't you disappointed that they might go out?" I'm like, dude, that's the greatest compliment ever, right? It's the greatest thing to be able to see people, get to a point where they can create a bigger community. And we're always going to stay connected, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
always going to be somehow
Always.
connected. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's incredible to watch people go out and help and serve more people, and do it in their own way, right? They don't have to duplicate what somebody else has done. Maybe they want to do it differently and they can come up with something that's even better than what we've done, right? And
Right.
that's the
Sure.
whole point. And we certainly need more helpers in the world always.
Now, we met on Clubhouse, and Rise and Grind through Glenn Lundy. You have mentioned about your marketing company. So that's this Pavement Group. That's what you're speaking about when you refer to your marketing company, or does it go beyond paving and
Yep.
pavement
So
company?
so the Pavement Group is an asphalt and concrete company, and then I am. We actually just exited the company that we built that was a marketing company. So we're still part of it, but it's called Lead Revenue, and
Okay.
we serve contractors specifically. So we do digital marketing from nothing. Sometimes somebody has no social media, no web presence at all,
Mm-hmm.
no website, nothing, all the way up to companies that have stuff that we can optimize and make better. We can recreate. We can do any of that. So
Mm-hmm.
we've got hundreds of contractors that use our services at Lead Revenue, and that has been just an unbelievable experience. I was blessed to meet my business partner in that venture is Brett Sutherland, and Brett has 20 years of digital marketing experience. He was in the automotive space,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting that we both know a lot of automotive
Yes, we,
folks. I
we
know
do.
everybody either they're in construction or automotive, pretty much all of my friends. And I come across an auto guy, and we partnered up on this business. He founded it. I became a customer, and I believed in it so much that I started referring a lot of people to it that I knew,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they all had incredible success. And the next thing you know, I was on the board, and then I became a partner in the company. And just at the end of September here, we sold that company to private equity. So now I'm on the board of those combined companies. the company that bought us is an automotive digital company, and
Wow.
we have a construction focus, but we do for everybody. But we have a lot of construction companies in that. I believe we're in 13 different verticals within that company. So we serve financial services and real estate and all kinds of lawyers, chiropractors. But we have obviously a heavy construction presence because of my network of people that have come to the company as a result. So that's been incredible. And, for those people out there that, digital might be strange to, trust me when I say jump in. It has transformed our business. It's transformed my life and my business. And it's everything. When you start to figure out digital is not the deal. Digital introduces you to the people, right? So, make sure you don't make that mistake. It is about taking online, offline, and that's how you create business success.
And that's what we have certainly, like you referenced, going to the conference this weekend, Grow Your Business for God's Sake, is that it just explodes that relationship and magic happens.
Yeah, it's incredible. And that, this podcast right here is living proof of it, right?
Exactly.
The digital landscape is not getting any slower. And so for those people out there who, might be, not generally at the forefront of it, I just challenge you to, challenge yourself, get uncomfortable and do it, because the friendships and the relationships and the things that you're able to create from it, they'll change your life. Forget about the money, forget about the business success, the people that you meet. Going back to your question earlier, the mentors that you're able to find through those digital landscapes, it'll change everything about your life. My marriage is better because of people that I've met, online. I'm a better father because of the people that I've listened to online, that just bring things up that make things better, and business is certainly a part of that too, but it's not just that. And so for people that think, that you have to fit into some kind of box to be on social media or to have a digital presence, it's not true. And all of us need to have it because we're missing out if we don't.
And I, who's a senior member of many of our team and family, I say to anyone who asks me, no, it's not easy for me, but I keep pushing and keep learning and keep doing, because I am very, very aware of what you just said. And I'm living proof. Like, for instance, this coming weekend, I'm going to be in Atlanta with Renee Noor, who I met in the elevator at the Glenn Lundy's consortium in New York City in July. And so she's having a Global Women's Wealth Warrior Conference, and she's invited me to speak. So it's that you have to get off the couch, get up, and connect. It's imperative to do that. Imperative.
Yeah,
but it all started like you said, from the digital world, for sure. Well, you just mentioned your beautiful wife. And I say that because I see your pictures on social media. But you also mentioned, I think personally to me, that you live in Pittsburgh currently. So when did you move back to Pittsburgh area?
So I moved to South Florida in October of 2010, and then we moved back in 2015. So,
I see. Okay.
My wife is from Pittsburgh. So I met her here, moved 3 months after I met her, which was complicated to say the least. And then shortly after, probably 6 months after I met her, she was crazy enough to move to Florida with me. And, it's been the greatest gift of my life. I know what my life was like before her, and I know what my life is like now. I said this at the event Sunday. I wouldn't be anything without her. She believes in me more than I believe in myself many times. She pushes me to keep going when, I might be scared to death. Right. And so I think that, having that person in your life, and it doesn't have to be a spouse. It can be lots of people that believe in you.
Yes.
But to have those people in your life that believe in you more than you believe in yourself is an incredibly important piece of success. And it is the reason that you keep going, right? Whatever that whatever that burn is inside of you that you want to do things for, that is an important piece to be able to connect to on a regular basis. And when you can constantly be doing it for something that's beyond yourself, it's a lot easier to keep going than it is when you're tired and it's just about you, right? And that could be your team, it could be your family, it could be your children, it could be your spouse. For me, it's, my parents worked so hard and sacrificed so much to be able to give my brother and I a better opportunity than they had. And, my grandmother, who believed in me in a way that nobody else did, those are the things that for me, I keep close to my heart when things get tough, and it's pretty easy to keep going.
Amen. And it's such a blessing, like you just said, to have not only those cheerleaders like around us, but those people like your wife that truly are intimate with you, that understand you, understand your makeup, so to speak, and what drives you, and that believe in you. It's all. But you also mentioned, I'm sorry?
I don't know how she understands me without a psychology degree, but she definitely does.
Well, my friend, women are intuitive. We kind of pick up the inner dynamic. So that's our secret sauce, I believe. Really, I mean it. That women have that intuitive nature to pick up those things. So that's that yin and yang. Yeah, that's that yin and yang. So you mentioned your son. So did you say son?
I have 4 children. Yeah.
Oh, 4 children. Oh my goodness.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a little girl who's 9, and 3 boys, 7, 4, and almost 2.
Okay. Oh, so young children. Okay. So they haven't started in your path yet. I don't mean paving or corporate, or business, but
I'll tell you, the 4-year-old is incredibly interested in what we do. He loves equipment. He loves business. He loves, sitting with his dad and listening to things. You mentioned during the pandemic, working from home, they were regular guests on our morning. We have a call every single morning, or at least we did during COVID for the Pavement Group. And they were regular attendees on our conference call, and so they pick up on things. I see their negotiation skills get a little bit better when they hear conversations on the phone, and then you'll hear them kind of use it against you when they want something, right? So yeah, my daughter is very interested in business. And my 7-year-old, he's into video games. Good for him. He loves it. He's very passionate about it. And he loves to read, and he loves math, and he loves school.
Okay.
And the 4-year-old, man, he's a big fan of construction. There's a brand that was created by some guys in our industry, some brothers up in Connecticut that are 3rd-generation paving guys, and it's called Raised on Blacktop. And so it's for, kids that are growing up in our industry. And so my son gets up, he gets up early when I'm going to take him to the job site, and he puts on all his construction gear and his Raised on Blacktop t-shirt. And man, he's just so excited to be there. And he loves anything related to equipment or trucks. Wow. And the little guy, we'll see what happens with him, but he seems pretty into trucks too. So we'll see.
So, you mentioned your son, who's the mathematician and the video games and is an avid reader. So you can see he's not probably going to go into construction, but he'll be a digital designer or something amazing. So because of the culture that you and your wife have created and will continue to create, it's very exciting just to see what you've done, what you're doing, and what you will continue to do. So that, before I ask you my final question, how do you see what you're doing now evolving again?
Our company is known in the industry for being innovative. We've done a lot of things with technology that other companies, haven't caught up to just yet. And so I think that innovation is what will continue to guide us. We are people over profits. So we never forget where we came from and why we started this business in the first place. And that was to create a place where, our team can come to work every day and feel seen and feel heard and appreciated, and to work for a place that they can be proud of, that gives back, that's part of the community, that really has a good culture. And we're far from perfect, but we do our best. We make mistakes, but when we do, we own them. But I believe innovation is what will continue to be ahead of us, right? How do we continue to simplify the process of doing what these property owners and managers have to do? Paving parking lots is never anybody's most exciting project. How do we make that easier? And how do we continue to chase that goal of getting people home to their families, to their dinner tables without any worries? Easier, better, faster, with more transparency and more ability to be on the job site without being on the job site for our clients. And so that's our goal. And so we will continue. Our goal is to be in 15 cities in the next 10 years.
Great.
And to be, when people think of asphalt or concrete, to think of the Pavement Group, and to be excited to be able to work with our team because of the people that we have on it.
As I said, our alignment is uncanny, actually, in the philosophies and how I've built my business, and just really interesting to me. We could talk forever. I have so many questions, but it's not appropriate for here, and Unique Leaders Live. But it is really the heart of what you're sharing about understanding that what you have done can be replicated without, let's say, a franchise, which loses heart. It's taking that heart and helping others with the need. And that is such an exemplary thing. And you will make such a difference. And the other thing that I hear loud and clear, which I always equate back to aesthetics and skin, is that if you start early, we say the Novitas Spa clinical products are for anyone from 8 to 108 who has skin. So you need to take care of your skin. It doesn't just, I'm not saying we didn't do medical aesthetics. We did, but I'm an old-fashioned girl. I believe in products and treatments that really build upon itself. So like maintaining that parking lot. Yeah. Why would you let it go to hell and have to spend then that huge amount of money? Maintain it.
Very relevant. I never thought of it that way, but I have a new analogy that I can use with our customers. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's exciting. Yeah, because especially, in our world, we work with a lot of female property and facility managers. And that's a great analogy to make, something understandable that sometimes is, not familiar to them, right? So
very much so.
Yeah, it's a great way to look at it. It's 100% parallel to what you're saying. It's, if you don't take care of it, then don't be surprised when it doesn't look so good.
Really, I mean that, because then you're going to spend huge amount of money and not look natural either. I have to share this with you. On Saturday night, the reason I left, and it was a hard decision, but I knew I made the right one. I have almost like a daughter here, and she has a nonprofit. She's not a natural daughter, but in my heart is. And she has a nonprofit called We Are Not Broken. I could go on and on about it, but her gala fundraiser was Saturday night. So I donated a large package, and with the girls that started their own business, as well as the skincare brand. And it was in the live auction. So the auctioneer, he said to me, "Lady, you need to," he was this cowboy guy, was at a ranch. And he said, "You need to stand up here and tell everyone what this package is." I can't tell them. He could do guns and things like that. They were auctioning off. So I got up there and so forth, shared the package. And I sat down, and one of the guests at the table that I was at hosting, she said, "Well, you left out the most important piece." I said, "What's that?" She goes, "Your age." Meaning that's the point of the point, meaning that I'm 71.
Wow.
And yes, I mean, I'm not, I don't mind sharing that, because the bottom line is it's mental, right, attitude, and it's about taking care of self. So the bottom line is that, so funny though, your age. So basically 8 to 108 who has skin. That means you too, Brian.
Love it. Let's talk. I need help, man. I need help. I'm in a construction world. It's rough out here. It's rough out here.
Well, yeah,
I'm around dirt and grime and all kinds of stuff all the time. So
Exactly.
Of
So
course. I'm a great
anyway,
candidate.
so my last and final question is I ask everyone this, and I'm sure you've heard, if maybe have read, 3 Feet from Gold, Sharon Lechter and
Mhm.
Greg Reed, their book. But if not, basically the premise is the beginning portion of it was a fiction, autobiographical a bit to Greg Reed's life, but it was essentially a guy from the East Coast during the gold rush days, had gold fever, went out west, bought a little piece of property, and bought his tools and started chipping away, and came into town to get his supplies and was moaning the blues, and finally gave up and sold his little patch of land to a townie. And in 3 feet, that guy struck gold. And so how many times have we all gotten 3 feet from gold? But Sharon, in her inimitable style, always is teaching, and she put together a piece of this book or story is her success formula, and it's your passion times talent, plus action plus association, uh, times and times plus faith equals success. So I'm not going to ask you all of that. You've shared much of that, but what is your passion and what is your talent?
Man, that's a great question. My passion is making a difference and making an impact. It comes down to serving people. The time that I feel most alive is when I'm making a difference with other people. When you see that fire ignite or that light go off in somebody, and that ripple effect of that will be, who knows how far it reaches, right? And so
Mhm.
for me, that is my greatest passion, right? Is being able to create success so that people will listen, and then being able to pay forward what so many people poured into me.
Mhm.
My talent, I think, is people. It's understanding people. It's being able to communicate and inspire people, but at the same time, being able to know when it's time to listen. Because I think that we're in a world that wants to be heard so much that sometimes we forget that there's somebody else talking. And for me, I said this on Sunday, but I have this burning desire that when people are in trouble or people need something or they need advice or they need guidance, I want to be the person that they think of to reach out to,
Mhm.
and that I'll be there no matter what, not judging anybody and not, just being there to be a helper, to be a person that tries to help people be better. That's what I want for my legacy. I want my kids to be able to look and say, my dad made a difference. My
Mhm.
dad helped a lot of people. And so for me, I think that, that is my talent. It's understanding people, being able to communicate with them, and really being able to understand, and being able to relate to people at all levels. I mentioned, I think God puts us in situations for reasons, and I'm able to relate with anybody because I've grown up in one situation. I'm in a different situation now. I've been around every different type of person. My friends are all completely different. The people that I interact with, I challenge myself constantly to always learn. And I think that helps us be better people that can serve others and really attempt
Mhm.
to understand.
Mhm. Amen. I couldn't agree more. Thank you, Brian, for being with me today. This has
Thank
been
you for
such a
having me.
pleasure, really such a pleasure. And I know that this is going to be, truly bless so many people who listen to this segment with you, Brian, because it's about true, real world. It is about real world. It's about being in the trenches, helping people, listening, as you said, and making a difference. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure
So,
was all mine.
so why don't you hang out in the green room for a minute as I just close out
You got
today?
it.
Thank you. Wow, wow, wow. What a blessing. Have the time to bring to you, not my time, but meaning their time that they share with us to bring to you these stories that are going to make such a difference in your life. Do share this out. Share it on all your social media platforms. It is live. It'll be a replay tomorrow on Saturday. It's live on YouTube, so subscribe to that. Brian has his story, as well as so many others that a few people I mentioned today. Sharon Lecter and Greg Reed are there as well. So do go to the YouTube channel for Unique Leaders Live. And then on Tuesday, Brian's story will be on all the podcast platforms. Say that a few times. And do subscribe to iTunes. It truly, again, will help people find us. We really would appreciate that. And if you would go to my website, megandimartino.com, my book, I was going to say Unique Leaders, Hope and Possibilities Just Over the Horizon. It's never too early or too late, guys, to create the life of your dreams. It is there. Just download it. Put your information in. You can also go to Instagram and put in Hope, and that book will be there for you as well. And it is now an audiobook. So I'm very excited about that. And many things are coming, as I shared with Brian. So do pay attention to some of the social media as we roll those out. So we are here for you. And I thank you again for joining me. And we will see you next Friday for another Unique Leaders Live. And be blessed.